Alright, what's up YouTube? So we're back again here with Rosay, and this time we're doing a quick video about what I want to do with my life and why I'm doing this, and pretty much my basketball story, because you know this is a basketball channel and I love basketball. But it's a little hot, so I'm going to undress a little bit, relax. This is not a casting couch, this is just me talking for now. Maybe later you'll see someone. Okay, so everybody has a story, everybody can talk. If you'd like to hear stories, check out my deep dive series. You'll definitely hear tons of stories from people that I find inspiring and people who I feel, you know, they should have their own word, and I let them have that platform. So the reason I'm doing this is because I grew up loving basketball. I'm pretty sure a lot of you, if you follow my channel, I'm pretty sure a lot of you can relate if you stick for the basketball stuff. It's one of those things where I grew up and basketball was just the one thing on my mind all the time. So the way I started loving basketball when I first started was my brother. The first time that I ever played basketball, first time that I can remember, is my brother took me to the courts with him, my cousin, and my uncle. I remember going and I shot the ball probably like only 3 times, and I hated it. I hated it. I wanted to go home. I remember it was dark. I couldn't see the rim. I couldn't make shit. And so I told them I just want to go home. So I waited for them to finish, and then he took me home. 2 days later, I don't know why, but I wanted to go back, and I ended up going back. I go back exactly with the same people, my cousin and my uncle and my brother, and for some reason I just had the mindset of like, I'm gonna make it, like I'm gonna play, I want to keep playing, I want to keep doing this, I want to keep shooting, I want to keep dribbling, and it just started going. So after that day, I remember I wanted to go out again by myself, but my mom wouldn't let me because the neighborhood I lived in wasn't so nice, and she was afraid stuff would happen to me. So she told me to go out with my friend. One of my friends who lived with me, I pretty much grew up with him ever since I was born, and he was 2 years older than me, and he was bigger than me, so my mom probably felt like he could protect me. And plus having another person there was awesome because, you know, I wasn't alone. So I would go with him and we would play basketball. And I guess he fell in love with it too. And, you know, every day we would just go out, go play basketball. I literally lived right behind a basketball court, like 2-minute walk, 1-minute walk, not even that far. And pretty much it was awesome because it gave me an excuse to go out and play basketball. It gave me an excuse to like leave the house because I would be home all day. My mom wouldn't let me go out. Was like a homebody, but for some reason I just always wanted to go out. I just didn't want to be home, and basketball was like a perfect excuse to go out. So as I was doing that, I would play every day. You know, I would develop. I think I was just shooting around. I'm not sure if I went out just because it was to go out, but I was playing basketball. Like, I wouldn't go anywhere else. I really was playing basketball with my friend. So I want to say I was about 5, 6, 7. Fast forward 8 to 9 when I was in 3rd grade. I tell my mom, hey, I want to join my elementary league. And so I think no hesitation, she put me in because it was something to do, you know, it's physical sports. And I played baseball all my life before that. And I hated it. I really hated baseball. I didn't really like it, but my parents put me in it so I can develop a sport. And so once I told them basketball, I think they were open to it because they wanted me to, you know, have something physical. And so 4th grade, my mom puts me in. So 3rd grade I told her, but 4th grade I couldn't get in until 4th because the league had already started. So 4th grade I get in. I remember going to practice. You know, I wasn't the best. I wasn't sure what was going to happen. I was a little nervous, of course, like everything you do when you first start, but I got the ball rolling, you know, we started doing practices. I was like, okay, this is very different because it was organized. You had to do certain lines, you had to get in lines, you had to do a certain shot, you had to do certain things, you know. We do drills, and drills it's not comfortable at first because if you've never done anything with stuff like that, then of course it's new to you. And then I remember seeing this guy named Mauricio, and he was probably the best one on our court. And he was amazing. I like looked up to that guy, and I thought he was so cool, and I wanted to be just like him. So I would follow him around, literally follow him around and do everything he did. Every shot he would take, I would do the same exact thing because I wanted to be just like him. And I remember he would do floaters crazy, and I couldn't do them. I remember like, you know, being like, damn, I can't do them. But it didn't discourage me because I remember back in that day, I remember this exactly. I remember being, I'm not good right now, but if I keep practicing, I know I'll get there one day. I just have to keep doing it, you know? But I didn't even think about it. And so I remember doing that, and we would play in league tournaments, or league not tournaments, but league games, about 6 games, and then have a playoffs. Nothing too serious, but just like kids, elementary, it was elementary. And so I would play. Remember my first game, I was hella nervous. You know, I just developed my skills playing through these games. I was scared. I didn't want to be there, but I wanted to be there. Because, you know, when I first started playing basketball, I was just all about love, like just being there, excuses, you know, to go out. And so now I'm learning how to play basketball, but it was never a thought of like, why am I doing this? What to do with this? It was just like, oh, this is cool. You know, I'm nervous, but I want to be here. Like, I really love playing basketball. During practices, I love being there. I love being with my friends. I love messing around. I love practicing. I was very calm during practice, but once it came to games, I would lose it. I was not the same. I was not at the same skill level that I knew I could be at. And so my skills just had to develop. And then I remember after that grade passed, there were long hot summers. I joined during the summer, and we would play during the summer in the heat at like in the afternoon at 12, and it was the worst. I remember I was so dark. I was browner than this. I was like dark brown. Like, this is nothing close. Imagine me like 5 shades darker. That's how I was. And it was because of the sun, but I just wanted to be there. Like, I love playing basketball, and I wanted to just get better. But it wasn't even about getting better. It was just about playing. Like, I just loved playing it. Like, it was so fun. And then after practice, for practicing for like 2 hours, I would go to my friend's house, Mark Gomez, and then we would still end up going back to the same school and playing one-on-ones full court, going back and forth, because we just loved the game that much. We would talk about watching Kobe Bryant. This was when Kobe Bryant, Dirk Nowitzki, Dwayne Wade, LeBron James, who was probably like only 22, like they were dominating the league. Steve Nash was still there. Ray Allen, Rajon Rondo, Paul Pierce, you know, KG, Paul Gasol. We looked up to them, and we would do their moves. We would copy them and be like, oh, look, it's the Paul Gasol hezzy, it's the Paul Pierce fadeaway, it's the Kobe fadeaway. And, you know, we would just do it. We wanted to be like them. They were our inspiration. So I went from Mauricio to these NBA players, and it was just amazing to like be able to see that and to be able to want to be like someone, to have a role model in life and be able to be like, you know what, I want to be just like that. So let me do that. Let me do what they do. And so we would do that. So literally during elementary, I would play probably for 5 hours every day. I would get out of school like around 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, depending, you know, I don't remember. And then I would literally at 4 o'clock, I would tell my friend, he would come to my door like old school style. He would knock. We didn't have phones, so he would knock, and he would be like, hey, what are you doing? And you know, I'd be like, oh, you know, I just got from school, finished my homework. And he'd be like, all right, you know, like, let's go. Like, we would go out. I would tell my mom. She'd hesitate because she didn't want me going out because I was still too young. But I think she just saw that I wanted to play basketball a lot. Like, I think she just saw that I loved it so much that it was not even a second thought. It was just like, I just want to go play basketball. Like, we would go to the mall, and I would just be like this, like, practicing my dribbles, like, doing stuff like this. Without a basketball. This is shadow ball. This is what I call shadow ball. I would just, you know, but then I have basketball, I'd be like, you know, like doing all the, like, you know, just stuff like that. Like, if you're a baller, if you're a real baller, you know what I'm talking about. Like, you don't have to have a ball, you can just imagine it. And so, hold on, give me a sec. My cat is about to drop this. Come here, Leon. Say what's up to Leon. This is my cat, not my cat, but my roommate's cats. But, okay. So, yeah, I would play shadow ball. So, literally never thought about it. I would just love to play. It was never a thought. It was just, I was in the moment, loved playing it, didn't even think about it. So I played from 4th grade to my senior year in high school. So junior high, high school, and elementary. So junior high, I played in the league, you know, you just sign up and you're automatically on the team. And my friends would do it. So I love being around my friends, you know, it gave me an excuse to be around people and just hang out with all my friends because I loved all of them, you know, messing around, telling jokes, and competing in a way, you know, competition was fun. but friendly competition, you know, being like, oh, I can make this shot, and I'm like, oh, I can top that, and then do it again, you know, just telling people like it was just fun. And so during junior high, I remember we would have lunches, and the way my junior high connected to my high school, and there was this gate that divided it, and the gate that divided it was the junior high basketball courts and then the high school on this side. And so we weren't allowed to go there. But I remember one time my friend would bring his basketball just to hold it, because I think he just loved holding it too. Like, he had that same passion I did. And that gate was open one day, and I remember he was just playing, and I noticed, and I was like, oh wow, like I didn't know it was like we were allowed, like we could play. And he's like, I don't think we can, but we still did it. We went and we started playing during lunch, and this became a habit. Like, we would just sneak into that place. And then I think one day security guard noticed, and they came up to us and they told us we couldn't do it. I don't think I was there that day, but I think that day my friend ended up getting detention or something, or he got in trouble for being out. But I think we talked to them asking them like, we want to do this, and so they let us. But then I think something happened where they had to have a security guard there, and one day they just blocked us off, like we weren't allowed to do it anymore. So that stopped there, but we would play during lunch. So then come high school, I remember before I even got into the team, high school was different, you know. You had to try out, you had to make the team, you had to get picked. And so I was super nervous because I had never had to gone through that, you know. I was going to be tested for my skill and, you know, see if I can even join the team. So I remember hearing the name of the basketball coach. I remember being like, who's the basketball coach? Who's the person that, like, you know, does all that, like, who organizes it all? You know, I was always so like, I need to be on top of this. And then I remember them telling me, oh, it's this guy named Coach Flores. And so I had a PE class, and I'm like, huh, that sounds very familiar. And then so I go up to my PE teacher, his name is Coach Flores, and I'm like, hey, are you the coach? And he's like, yeah. He's like, yes, Sonny, I am. Like, he had such a funny, like, he was awesome. Like, I would ask him, I remember we were walking to the grass, and I just was nervous, but I went up to him like, hey, like, are you the coach? I'm like, I really want to play on the basketball team, but I know you have to try out, so how can I make the team, you know? How can I get in there? How can I be better? And he was just like, well, just practice your skill. He's like, on this day, January 1st, we're gonna hold tryouts, and just be there, we'll see if you got it. And so I'm like, okay, like, yeah, I'll be there. And so that happens, and so we do our tryouts. You know, I'm going ham, I'm doing my best. I know half of the people there, which is awesome, so I already know their skills, so I know what to do to, like, be better than them in a way and beat them. And so, you know, tryouts end, we're all nervous. Me and all my friends are like, damn, like, did we make the team? We don't know, so we have to wait. The day comes where they have the listings in the PE room. So the day comes, we'll say the 13th comes, and it's 7 in the morning. We all get there at 7 in the morning before school starts. School starts 40 minutes from that time. And at 7:20, they open this door to the PE rooms to have the listings of all the people who made the team for the tryouts. And I remember I ran to that paper, and I saw for the names, I saw varsity, junior varsity, and then freshman. So, I mean, my first initial was like, all right, I know I didn't make varsity or junior varsity, so I didn't even look at those papers. And then I remember seeing the freshman list, and I look, and I don't see my name, and on the 13th name, I see my name, and I'm like, oh, I made it! And then so we all leave, and I remember I was happy, but as we all walked out, one of my friends didn't make it. One of the people who was better than me, and, like, he had always been better than me, didn't make it. And so that kind of, like, hit me a little different. It hit me kind of hard because I had never seen him sad like that, and I didn't think he didn't have the skill for it. And so I remember he had his head down. I had never seen him with his head down like that. And I asked him, like, you know, I didn't know. So I asked him, like, did you make it? And he said no. And so I felt bad, and I just didn't know what to do. But I told him, you know, stick in there, like, you still got next year. And so after that day, I remember just being like, damn, I can't let that be me. Like, I need to do better. Like, I need to get better. So my freshman year, I played basketball, freshman team. You know, we all get together. It's a new team, like, people I've never played with, and people from different junior highs. And we killed it that year. We went 16-0. I remember I was nervous every game. Like, no, there was not one game where I wasn't nervous. I was always nervous, but I did my best. And so I was able to learn a lot that freshman year. So the season ends, and Coach Flores was the varsity coach, not the freshman coach. So he kind of saw me develop. But one day, remember, he was my PE teacher. So one day during PE, it was like the last 2 weeks of school, so we had free play. And I knew this guy named Victor Magana. He was probably 5 inches taller than me. And one day we're like, hey, during PE, we're like, let's play one-on-one. And then so we start playing. And never in my life had I ever been able to beat him. But I was going ham that day. Like, I was using my left hand. I was doing fadeaways on him. And from the corner of my eye, I turn and I see the varsity coach, Coach Flores, just standing there like this. Or just nodding. And he comes up to me once we finish after I beat him by like 11-5. And he's like, you see, when you learn all the skills, all the fundamentals that we teach you during basketball, you get better. And so I remember him telling me that. He's like, come summer, you're going to be with me on the varsity team. So summer league comes, and I joined the varsity team. And during the summer, I was with varsity. There was 2 varsity teams, varsity A and varsity B. He split both teams out evenly. So like, if there were sophomores and juniors who were already better, he split them in half. And same with the freshman team, he split them in half. So I went with the half with none of my freshman team. Only 5 people went into the freshman, to the varsity from freshmen. And so I went with one person. So it was me and one other person. We left to the varsity B, and the other ones who were better than us at that moment went to varsity A. And so varsity B, I think, was the best thing that could have happened to me because I got playing time. I got a lot of playing time. Luckily, I was playing people who were older than me, who probably had been varsity already from junior and going into their senior year. And so my first game, I remember my first game, I killed it. I had like 9 points and like 2 assists. And I think that was not a lot if you think about people who are amazing. But to me, I wasn't the best player comparing myself to like people who are ranked number 1. But to me, that was awesome because I was nervous for freshman game. So come my varsity game, I was hella nervous. I was not even ready. And so I did amazing my summer. And so I think that summer we leave, right? So then we come back to school, and there's a gap before basketball starts. So during that gap, I remember there were JV practices, and I would, even during my freshman year, I forgot about this, during my freshman year, I would go to the JV practices because even I was a freshman, and I would practice with them. Like, I would get extra practice time, like me by myself, because I would tell the coach, like, hey, I just want to play, like, I just love playing, like, I don't want to be home, like, I just want to do something, like, I just want to keep playing. And so I would practice with the JV team, and I think that definitely helped me because the JV coach was a conditioning drill skills coach. So he helped me get my skills down. He helped me get into drills and just kind of, I'm skinny, but I got muscle under this. And he was able to let me, to grow me into a stronger player, physically and, just mentally and skill-wise. And I remember I was a little better than most of the JV people, but a lot of them were better than me. And they were mad because come that sophomore year, I got into the varsity team. And so during that varsity time, I learned a lot during practice. It was crazy because, they were all bigger than me and they all had experience already. And I knew none of them, but we practiced. And then come during the games, I didn't play. I didn't get any playing time. Maybe once, but it was still rare. And so I remember during my sophomore year, since I didn't play, I was like, man, how can I make this funner? Because, we'd just be on the bench. And so we had 3 people who were jokers, and like they would just joke. Like we had that bench where I was like, oh, like we'd go on the floor, we'd start making jokes. Like it was that type of like team that we had. And so that was fun. And then after the games and before the games, I would have like a recording of myself because I love watching ESPN, and I'd be like, da-na-na, da-na-na. So today we're here with Angel Flores, and we're going to talk about his game stats. He had 19 points, 3 assists. Angel, what were your right thoughts? And then he would talk, and then we just go back and forth. And then I would do that with some of their dads because it was just funny. And they loved it. So we love the energy. I love the energy. All right, so come my junior year, I got better. I was, of course, better. And I was a point guard, and there was a senior point guard. So I'm a junior, there's a senior point guard. I remember during practices, I would beat him. I definitely would beat him one-on-one. I mean, he knew the plays better than me, and he was older, but I was just better than him. And I think the coach just wanted to give him his last year, so he let him play over me. Like I wouldn't even start. I would barely play too, and so he would let him, take the whole game. Like he would be in the whole game, the whole game. So I would barely even play. Since he is the point guard, he had the plays he needed to control the offense, and so he would barely take him out. And he did get better. I'm not gonna lie, he got way better his senior year. Like towards the end, like I had never seen him that good. So we also had a freshman who came in that junior year for me, and he was really good. He was probably better than me at that time. But we were like evenly matched. But he had a skill that I was even nervous about. So I got nervous because I was like, man, I think he's gonna take my spot. Like I think I'm gonna get cut next year, or he's gonna start over me because he was really good. And so I got nervous, and then during practices we would just go at it. Like we would talk shit to each other, and we would just go back and forth. Like we wouldn't pass the ball. We would just play one-on-one with each other when we had a 5-on-5 game. And then what I loved the most is like after practices he came up to me and he was like, like I love that we can shit talk and leave it all on the court. And I didn't never realize that, but I was like, yeah, like I really like that. Like I love the drive that you give me. And he would just push me to want to do better. And so my junior year, that happens, and then I think I lost touch a little bit because I didn't play, and I was really mad because I wasn't playing. And when you don't play and you have the skills, it hits you different. And so I wasn't playing, and I remember I think I started getting distracted with girls. That's at that time, when you start getting testosterone, things change a little bit. You see, what I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking about. I don't need to explain that. And so I was just getting distracted. When I would play after school, I remember there was one moment where my body was just sore because I'm telling you, I never took a break. I would play every single day, 4 to 5 hours. My junior year, mid-season, I remember my body was just done. Like literally, when games would end, I would still practice after from like 9 to 10 for even an hour. And then I remember one day I come home and my body was just done. Like I couldn't move it. Like I was in pain. And so I told myself, you know what, I'm gonna give myself a break. That break turned into a week. From a week to 3 weeks. 3 weeks, maybe I played once every other day. Or maybe once within that week, 2 times within that week. I would get distracted. I started doing things that I shouldn't have been doing. I started hanging out with friends that were of a different circle, that didn't play basketball, that did other things. And I did the same thing with women, different girls. I would hang out with girls. I just wasn't focused on basketball. I didn't love it, or it wasn't my focus anymore. I had other things to focus on. And I remember one day my coach noticed that something had in me was just gone. Like I was not the same person. Even I knew it, or I didn't, but I did. And then one day, I go to a practice, and he's like, "You need to come with me." And so I go with him. I felt like a rebel. I was like, man, fuck that shit. Like I didn't want to do anything anymore. Like I just didn't even give him my all. I was probably giving in like 5%. I walk into this room with my coach, and my mom is there, in this room sitting down, and I'm like, "Why are you here? Like what the hell? Like that's random." So he sits me down and he's like, "Mrs. Gomez, I brought you here today because your son is not the same person anymore. He just doesn't love the game. He's not playing. Like I've watched him since he was young, and he's just not the same person." And I'm there defending myself, lying, being like, "No, I still love it, like this and that." And I'm like, and then as we continue, I'm kind of like, yeah, I don't know, like. And so he tells me, "I'm gonna give you a week. Just take the week off. You tell me if you still want to continue or not." And so I took the week off, and during that time I was like, man, like, what happened? And so I wasn't too sure, and I remember just being like, I'm gonna stick to it. Like I don't want to quit. Like I just want to keep playing basketball. And so I did. And then come my senior year, I was practicing more. I got back into the rhythm, but not the rhythm that I did before. Not where I played 4 to 5 hours. Maybe I started playing an hour or 2 hours. I would practice. But it felt more of a force. Like I was like, all right, I have to go practice. It wasn't like, oh, I want to go play. Like it wasn't like I had to think about it. But this time during my senior year, it was like, okay, I have to go practice. Like I need to go practice. So that was a weird moment in my life where it was kind of like that love wasn't there. It wasn't like, oh, I want to go play basketball so bad. It was just more like I need to go, like, or else how am I gonna get better, you know? Because it was my senior year, I knew this is my last shot. Like, this is my last year. Like, after this, I don't know what happens. I wanted to be a professional basketball player. That was my goal. But how was I gonna get there if I knew I couldn't be better? And so I go. I played my senior year. I remember I did amazing. Best year of my life. I had never had skills like that. I was on top of all my game. And then I finished my senior year. And then I would play basketball after I left high school, you know. I did college ball. I remember I did tryouts for 3 days. It was a 7-day tryout. I did 3 tryouts. And it was intense. But for some reason I quit. And I stopped going to tryouts. I didn't do it. And after I quit, I was going to school. I was in college, you know. I was focused on my academics. I was focused on studying, and then I dropped out because I didn't want to do school anymore. And so now, in the present moment, I remember I would play, like last year, I would play, and I would be in the gym, and it just didn't feel the same. Like, I you know, when you grow up, you get that thought in your head where it's like, damn, I have to make money. Like, I have to do other stuff, because life is not just about playing basketball anymore. It's not about having fun. It's not about leisurely doing random stuff, you know. Like, when you're a kid, you don't have responsibilities, but as you grow up, life just throws all that at you, you know. You're like, damn, I have to work now, I have to do this, I have to do that. And so I would play basketball, and it would always be on my mind, like, am I doing the right thing? Like I'm not spending time focused on, like, making money or doing this or doing that, you know, responsibility wise. So I stopped playing. There was a break where I didn't play, and then I remember coming back, and my skills were off. Now let's go back 2 months from today. I started playing basketball. My 2 friends hit me up, 2 old friends that I hadn't talked to in a long time from the team were like, hey, like, let's go play basketball. And I was like, alright, like, why not? So we go, and they get me into LA Fitness. I don't have a pass, so one of them brought me into guest pass. And as we're playing, one friend who I hadn't seen in a long time, like one of my greatest friends, he comes in, and I was shocked. You know, I was like, whoa, like, I never used to play basketball. And he's like, yeah, I just started getting into it. And so a rhythm started. Something happened. Like, a rhythm just started coming. Like, we would hit each other up every Friday. And we'd be like, hey, we started a group chat, like, hey, let's go play ball. I'd be like, yeah, let's do it. And then, you know, like, we started playing 5-on-5s, and we noticed it was us 3, and, like, we had such a great chemistry. And so we would run people out the court, like, still, like, we sucked, but we would play. We would get, like, 3 for 3. We played 6 games and go 3 for 3. And then as days progressed, we were like, hey, let's go Saturday too, like, why not? And we'd go Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, so we'd go all 3 days. And then as we started doing that, the passion started coming back. I'd be like, ah, let's go, like, I want to play. And we play, and to this day, we beat people off the court. Nobody can beat us. Like, just with 3 people, we have such great chemistry. Like, we know how to help, we know how to do it, and, like, we just love it. And so now, every time I play basketball, it brings me, like, a peace of mind. Like, it's a meditation for me. Like, if I have something on my mind, I go, and everything clears. I forget about everything, and I'm just in that moment. I love playing basketball. And something happens where, like, if I play by myself, it's not there. Like, it's not the same. I think for me personally, why I love basketball is because it helped me bring my friends together. It helped give us an excuse to come and do something. And, you know, when you play 5-on-5, you get competitive. You want to play more. You know, you have people to pass. So because I always played in the league where you had rules and stuff, I learned how to, you know, develop skills and play a game. And so we did that, and it started getting more funner. And so now I wonder, like, to this day in my life, I'm like, well, how can I make money off of playing basketball? And the best platform to do that, of course, is YouTube. I see so many people playing basketball on YouTube, and they're making money off of it. And they're not even playing basketball. They're making videos that are fun, like dunking challenges, layup challenges. I see one guy named T-Jazz, and he is killing it in his, like, YouTube channel, because all he does is have fun with it. He's meeting professional basketball players. He got into a video game just doing that. And he's not even a professional basketball player and he's in the NBA game. Like, what? And so, like, you know, at first I was scared. Like, man, I can't do that. But it's kind of like, well, I have to give it a shot before I even, you know, before I even put myself down. So that's exactly why I'm doing this. And so now we're here. Or it's this present moment with me starting my YouTube channel. And so we'll see where this takes us. But I wanted to make this video. It's 30 minutes long. It's long. But I know 2 years from now, when I look back at it, I know I'm going to be somewhere where I'm doing something with basketball. And people are going to wonder. People are going to want to know my story. And I'm going to tell them this. I'm doing it. I'm going to make something with basketball. No matter what. Basketball is the one thing I love. My dream one day is to have my own basketball court, my own gym. I want to lay down one day, fall asleep in that gym, wake up, and go right into playing basketball. That's heaven to me. And one day I'll get it. I'm going to have heaven on earth. Yeah? So, just keep following me and we'll see where this takes us. Later, guys.